Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times with Willy B, we'll be reviewing Boy Kills World. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Mike on. Mike, how we doing today?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Doing good. Good to finally have you on.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited to talk about this movie. I enjoyed it a ton.
For sure. So Today we'll be talking about Boy Kills World. Moritz Moore, the director, this is their first feature film. They had a couple of shorts, it looked like, in their filmography, but they find the big screen in their first feature film, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it helps when you have a guy like Bill Skarsgård on the cast list. And
for sure.
He's the big name going to this one. Jessica Roth, a recognizable name in this one as well, plays the sister, also antagonist, and we'll get into all of this. Obviously,
for
spoiler alerts are on this video. And then Brett Gelman, another recognizable name if you're a Stranger Things fan.
I'm unfamiliar. I don't remember the gentleman's name. He played on an HBO series called Warrior. He played Rasho. Okay. I thought he did really well. Yeah. I enjoyed him. Big action guy. Yeah. So it was a ton of fun.
A fun cast.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll start with the good, and we can start with the cast. I thought the acting was really well. Obviously, headlined and standout was Bill Skarsgård, and it's funny because we don't even hear his voice the entire film.
Not one. I think he screams at the end, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He does a lot of acting with his emotions in his face, and I think he does a pretty good job. There are a couple times in there where you see he's like really intently listening, looking at people's mouths, trying to figure out what they're saying, and there's a whole bit that they beat into the ground with him not being able to understand somebody. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
So he plays our main character, Boy, and he's deaf and mute. So
Yep.
I thought that was really cool, honestly, because it helps build this backstory that I thought was really good, and it gave us another great voice acting as well. But we get this video game voice because it's the last voice he can remember. Yep. And I thought that was really cool, just having that round 2 fight voice overtop him the entire film.
The old arcadey sound, you know what I mean? It was pretty cool. I actually in the little notes that I took, I wrote that the backstory on how he got that voice, and just instead of having that internal monologue, they put a story to it. I thought was pretty cool. Yeah,
and we already shouted out Bill Skarsgård, but the kid that played Boy. And that backstory, the first 20-ish minutes, he also did a great job.
I thought he did very well.
Always nice when you see some great acting from children.
Exactly.
And we also saw it with his young sister version as well. All around, I don't really think there was a bad performance in this movie.
No. I'll agree with you there for sure.
Yeah. So, you go into this movie, you watch a trailer, and you are expecting action, you're expecting gore, and I think they hit on both.
Yeah, nail on the head for sure right there. That's definitely, that's what you're getting, right? There's a story for sure, you get a little bit of dystopian, backdrop, but
almost Hunger Games vibe with the
very much so, right? They'll just pick 12 people for to get rid of.
To pick off one by one.
To pick off one by one for entertainment.
Yep. But no, we get the, like you said, the dystopian story with the Hunger Games vibe, and that's where we get our backstory. All he remembers is that his mom and sister got killed in this, and he got saved by the shaman. Yep. And the shaman has trained him, and he has one purpose in life. To kill the Vanderkoys, especially Hilda Vanderkoy.
Yeah. And, not a big fan of Hilda.
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
But I thought it was a really cool way, because this whole build-up, you're like, okay, the Vanderkoys suck.
Yeah, these guys are the worst.
Yeah.
And they kind of lean into it too. Yeah. The first that little roundup they do in the town, you're like, yeah, these people are definitely awful. Yeah, they for sure
killing innocent dudes because one girl's rambling on, and it was. They did a really good job at building you to hate these people as well.
Yep, I agree with that. I thought the chick in the crowd was going to be some part of the story too. That was yelling, right? I thought for sure that she was going to be involved, and just absolutely was not. Nobody.
Never seen again.
Nope.
Maybe she was picked off. In that little ramble.
Yeah, there was
little rumble, but. No, they did a really good job. I think the first act did a really good job of setting this movie up. Yeah. It's action right off the rip, so it's no sitting around waiting for a story to develop. It's just we go.
Yeah, you get into it. Like you said, you have that little first 20-ish minutes, and then from there on, it's just high octane, gore, action, everything I love in a movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And once we get to that first calling that we see as him with him as an adult, that's when, like you said, it really, really starts. That's when he's like, you know what, today's the day.
Yep.
My one purpose in life is to kill Hilda Vanderkoy, and it's going to be today.
It's happening today.
And he starts doing some parkour, and he finds his way into the trunk of a car with a dead body.
Yep.
And then it goes, and we see him, mow through guards and make a team. And it's a lot of fun. It's a wild ride. And, like here with his team is where we get the bit of...
Yeah.
He can't understand their lips, and so we're hearing them say some outlandish stuff, but that's just what he's kind of seeing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was all really well done.
Yeah. Have we mentioned, was it H. John Benjamin, the voiceover? Did we mention him at all?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, he did the internal monologue that we were talking about, that they got from the video game when they were kids. I thought he did really well. I do think it can be a bit much, though.
Yeah.
At certain points. Still very fun. Very fun.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a very good job overall.
I think if this movie's longer than 90 minutes, it definitely...
it overstays its welcome if it's over 90. Yeah, for sure.
I think in the time we got, and, speaking of time, I thought this movie was really well paced.
Yep.
Like, you hit the ground running from the start, and you're intrigued the entire runtime.
I think it felt like 45 minutes. I was locked in.
Yeah.
The second that first action scene started, you're locked in, and it's just so much fun the entire time.
Yeah. We get a little bit of a twist as we get into the third act.
Yep.
He finally gets to the Vanderkoy dinner and thinks he kills her, and then it's all, it's a staged dinner, and he has his 1v1 with June 27.
Yep.
And we find, she gets her helmet kicked off, and his dead sister that's been kind of ghosting next to him the entire film is like, wow, she's beautiful. So you kind of get a hint like, okay, is that, But, as we get more and more into this third act, we find out that he is a Vanderkoy.
Yep.
And I did not see that coming.
When I first saw June 27 on screen, I kind of had a feeling that it was leaning that way. You can't tell right off the bat.
Yeah.
I'm just basing that off previous movie experiences. You know what I mean, right? I'm like, I feel like this would be one of the twists for sure. But I still think that they did it in a way that like you're unsure the entire time. You're still like, I could be completely wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And so then we get this like basically rewind highlight reel of how the shaman killed his father and then didn't save him. He's the reason he's deaf and mute, and it's like, wow, this whole movie you're going hating the Vanderkoys, and all of a sudden the shaman's the bad guy.
They the roles reverse. You get that whole montage of him essentially brainwashing this child and saying the Vanderkoys did this. Hilda Vanderkoy is the why you're deaf and all that other stuff. And I thought that part, there's like a 2-part twist, right? I thought that part I did not see coming for sure.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah. No, they did that really well. And then we kind of get this final battle between June, the sister, and the boy in June 27 team up versus Shaman. And, if there wasn't enough action and gore throughout the first hour and 20, then you get your fixing in this last 10 minutes.
It was so cool. It was like a 10-minute 2v1. What's the gentleman's name who played the shaman? Ra-Ra? Something or another. He did. I know he's in the movie Raid Redemption, which I haven't seen, but mutual friends of ours love that movie. So I thought he did a very good job in that. It's choreographed so well, man. You almost feel the weight of the punches. I feel like, you know what I mean. Like everything is just so well done. Yeah, and the shaman has kind of this like. It reminded me of the raptor claw from Jurassic Park. Yeah. He has like this, and he gets into the arm and pulls it down, and the leg and pulls down and. I thought that was it. I thought it was curtains for our boy.
Yeah, and it's gut-wrenching. It's great action, great gore. The effects were awesome, both anytime they used practical or visual. And that was throughout the entire runtime. I mean, in a movie like this where you get as much gore as you do, they did a really good job of making it look authentic.
Am I misremembering? Is Sam Raimi involved in this movie?
I am not sure.
I thought I heard something on that. I should have done more research prior to coming on here, but I thought I heard mention of his name in there. And
cool.
Speaking of the gore and all that, there's a scene in the kitchen, and I know you know which one I'm talking about.
Kitchen scene.
Oh my god, buddy.
That's a noteworthy scene. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of people's favorite. It's my favorite scene in the movie as well, man.
Did you see Evil Dead Rise?
I've not seen any of the Evil Deads,
Okay.
and it's a sin as far as me watching Blu-rays and movies and all that. But it's on the list. It's on the list.
Evil Dead Rise created a fear of cheese graters for me.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure this didn't help then, huh?
that gets confirmed here. He basically goes knife in one hand, cheese grater in the other,
And
it's
it
like
is just
stab, slice across the face.
It is awesome, dude.
What? And it's not even that long of a fight.
No.
But it's such a good sequence. Again, well choreographed. The stunt coordinator and all of the action choreography throughout the entire film, really well done.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also took Bill Skarsgård doing that to make it look as good as it did, and I think he did really good. And I said this going into this movie, I was like, I'm intrigued in this because anytime somebody with the last name Skarsgård is on a project, you're probably...
Yeah, shout out to every single one of those people, dude.
Yeah.
Every single movie they're in, just great stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Like, this is Pennywise.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Pennywise.
Yeah. But, Bill Skarsgård blew me away once again, and what a scene that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, we talked about the final fight scene, and we've, seen a lot of great final fights in the history of cinema.
Yep.
But this one lasted quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, it had probably 10, 15 minutes of runtime.
Like
that these three are going at it.
We were not exaggerating. That is a smooth 10 minutes of some of the best action.
Like 15 to 20% of the movie.
I'll say the best action I've seen this year, and some of my favorite action I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
No, it was really well done. And again, shout out to the writing, the stuntmen, the everything. Just really well done. And when I went into this movie, I wasn't like, I don't know, again, like I said, you see a Skarsgård, you're expecting something good.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting this to be as good as it ended up being for me, I think.
Yeah, it was a welcome surprise, that's for sure. I think the trailer does a great job of telling you that this is just going to be a fun action movie.
For sure.
And it delivers on that promise.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
for sure, man.
Yeah, if all else fails, you can have fun with this movie.
Yep.
But is there anything that stuck out more to you in the good that you'd like to shout out? I mean, we've kind of gone through.
We went through that whole movie. I loved the gore and the choreography of the fight scenes, man. I think the highlight of it for me is that last 10-minute 2v1 with June, Boy, and the Shaman. I think that's the height. They build up to it after you learn the twist, and it delivers.
Something another thing I want to point out that kind of just hit me is when I was first watching this movie and he was mowing through those guards the first time he got to the Vanderkoy facilities.
Yeah.
I was a little upset with how every bullet was missing, nobody could land a punch.
Yeah, dude.
But for me, then it all came full circle, and I ended up liking that because when he has that fight with the Shaman and he's getting hit and beat up and battered and all that, it made me realize okay, the Shaman trained him so well that no one can beat him but the Shaman.
But the Shaman, yeah.
So it kind of fit,
It almost looked like plot armor when the bullets were missing and all that. It was like, all right, yeah, I mean, we're 45 minutes into this movie. He's not going to get shot right now.
Yeah.
And it'll be the end, right? But to what you're saying, the Shaman trained him so well, and that fight scene was dope.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought the Shaman training sequences were really cool, really well shot. A lot of the movie was really well shot. Again, the visuals were stunning. Just on a technical standpoint, again, this movie was really well done.
If you don't like shaky cam, you might want to...
Yeah. But I feel like that's almost becoming a staple of action.
Yeah.
So if you don't like shaky cam, you probably don't like action.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
They kind of tie together. You're probably not seeing this movie then.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of good to talk about with this film. Most of it, I would put in the good.
Most of... I love the movie. I'm rating it high.
Yeah.
So
I have an idea on what you're rating it based on.
There's a ton of good. I don't have a lot of negative connotation on this one.
For sure. Well, if there's nothing you'd like to add to the good, we can move on to the meh.
We're good.
All right, so we'll move on to the meh. And the only thing I have in the meh is more of less of a, knock on the movie and more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like that he killed Gideon. The brother that helped him out, the brother that gave him, the key pick to get him out of the handcuffs. And, you have the sister that's like, he helped us. Why are you doing this? And I don't know, I wish maybe he got spared.
Yeah, I think he was leaning so hard into his mission to kill all the Vanderkoys at that point, right? He just looked over it. But to your point, I agree with that.
And then after the twist comes out, I'm like, man, it was your uncle.
You got rid of your uncle, my man.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah. It kind of makes you think, like, did Gideon know that was...
You know, you kind of get that vibe. I actually didn't think about that until right now, because what other reason does he have? He kind of gives hints that he doesn't like... whatever's going on, right?
Yeah.
He wrote the script, the speech or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. There's some good comedy, too.
Yeah.
Give that a shout-out. There is some good comedy.
Yeah, definitely some good comedy in there. But I think you're right. He does give hints that he might know. I think that's left up to, like, interpretation, though.
For sure. And... another thing, it definitely left up to interpretation. But you kind of get that vibe after like the twist happens. You're like, did he know this whole time?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I liked Gideon's character a lot. Again, I like Brett Gelman. I
thought he did great. He did great. He was one of my favorite not star characters for sure.
For sure. Another thing that I'd throw in the good that I forgot to mention was some of the kills that weren't a part of the action sequences, like the camera kill. Oh yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know that some people are like, you just said a kill's cool, but like when you have an action movie with this much gore, there's some cool kills on screen, man.
I'd venture to say most of them are pretty sick. So.
Yeah, for sure. Not for the weak stomach.
No, definitely not, man.
But is there anything that you had in the meta that you were like, you didn't love, but
I was a little early on the meta. I do think from time to time the voiceover, right? They fill in areas that you don't really need to hear, Archer's voice but other than that, man, not really.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just thought they just did a bit much with it. And I think some people aren't gonna like that, right? They just want the action. They don't want the quips as he's going, as someone's shooting and he's like shit and he ducks under. Yeah. But that's it. Really,
for a second, like when he was kind of having a conversation with his teammate mentally to like lip reading, at first I was like, I thought he was deaf because I thought he was hearing, and I was like, oh wait, he said he's gotten good at reading lips.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, oh no.
Were there scenes in there where you're trying to figure out why we can hear it? Because he's deaf, right? Mm-hmm. And there were a couple scenes where he's like either not close to the guy talking and not facing him or something like that. And I was kind of curious. I was like, if we're kind of we're not in his POV, obviously, right? But there are scenes where
we're in his mind.
Yeah, we're in his mind essentially, right? I was just kind of, I wonder how you felt about that. You know what I mean?
It was little nitpicky things like that where I was like, if he can't hear, how can we? But at the same time, it did carry the story, so I guess...
Yeah, I mean, you can.
It was necessary.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, there would be times where him and his sister are like having a side conversation, but you can still hear his two teammates conversating across the room.
Right.
Which I get. At the same time, maybe that's why the lip reading wasn't as good as it was, though.
True. You make a pretty good point, yeah.
But... we both already talked. Neither of us have really anything bad to say about it.
No, dude, I don't have a bad comment to say. You have to. Yeah, I don't have a bad comment to say about this one.
I saw your score before I went and saw this, and I was like, man, is it going to be that good? And it didn't disappoint.
Yeah. I definitely rated it high. I was the adrenaline was pumping when I got out of it. I think dude, I think I rated that in my car. Yeah. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, dude.
So we'll hop over to final thoughts and rating. And what do you want to leave off with final thoughts? And what are you giving this out of 10?
Final thoughts. For this one here, like if you just go into this movie, you turn your brain off. This is just a fun time at the movies, man. For sure. And it hits so well if you're not looking for some overarching story. Mm-hmm. There are no underlying themes or anything like that. Yeah. If you just go in ready to look for a gory, fun action movie, this is for you. Out of 10, recency bias pass. I'm probably giving it like a 7.5.
7.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I'm in the same boat. Like you just said, shut off your brain, have a fun time with this. I'm going to keep it with the score I left the theater with, and that's an 8 out of 10.
Hey, nice.
I had a lot of fun with this. I left theaters like, this is a 4-star out of 5.
Yeah.
Threw it on the Letterboxd. And I know you liked it like immediately. I was like, sweet, Mike saw it. But yeah, like you said, it was a fun time. The entire runtime, you're locked in. Yep. This isn't one where you have to check your phone and be like, is it almost over? No, you're in it. Bill Skarsgård was awesome. The whole cast was awesome. We get a fun post-credit scene, too, where Bill Skarsgård and his sister get to reconnect in the jungle, and they're eating sugar puffs.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even see it. I didn't even see it.
So after the fight with the shaman, dude, they're in a house in the jungle. I think it's the shaman's house.
Yeah.
And they're just all battered up, bandaged, and they're eating sugar puffs, and they're just like smiling.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, they get to have their reconnect. You know.
I sat there for a second as the credits were on. I'm like, there's not going to be a post-credit scene to this. Why would there be?
I looked it up because I was like,
yeah.
Is there one? Because I was about to see Alien, the 45th anniversary, and I was like, should I just leave now and head over to the theater?
How sick was that?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
sure. It was awesome. But I was like, should I head over now, catch more of the, behind the scenes of the 78? And I was like, I'll look it up. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, shit, good thing I didn't leave. Like, it wasn't anything like, oh, there's going to be a second one. I mean, I guess maybe the adventures of...
Yeah, there shouldn't be a second one.
No,
Please don't make a second one.
I'm with you. I'm not a sequel guy if there doesn't need to be one. I get it if you're planning a trilogy, but...
Yeah. But there's not...
Like,
the story's
this movie
done.
Did well. Let's throw a second one at you.
The story's done.
For sure.
Keep it pushing. But I loved it, man. I loved the movie a ton.
Super good time.
Yep.
Super good time. I'm glad I saw your review and reached out.
Dude. I'm glad you reached out.
Man.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll do it for Boy Kills World, Mike. Thank you for coming on, my man.
For sure, buddy.
It was a pleasure. Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social link down below. We thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you all soon.
All right.
Peace.